Hello, and welcome to another edition of Share Your Story on Abled Amputees of America. Very excited about having today's guest. He is a good friend of mine. He is also an above knee amputee, such as myself. And the cool part about it, he's the founder and chief administrator of a Facebook page that you're probably a member of. It's called USA Facebook Amputees. His name is Thomas Leonard. And Thomas, I thank you so much for doing this. I hope that you're well.
I am well. Hey, thanks for having me, Doug. Like Doug said, I met Doug back when I was working with Hanger. And not only did I get a good work colleague, but Doug and I developed a pretty good friendship over the years. I mean, we did our ed fairs and our different events and stuff. And boy, we did it in grand fashion. But, anyway,
Yes.
all right. I guess on the one side note, I remember we'd go to conventions. People go, oh, there's Laka and Raka. My first point, as you mentioned, I am Thomas Leonard. I am now in my 31st year of being an above knee amputee. My night was January 19th, 1989. And it's funny. I hear stories all the time, just like you do, Doug. And I love hearing them. Everybody's is so unique, so different. And but I remember thinking back to that particular time. I woke up, I got dressed, I went to work like every day, and I did my thing. And on the way home, a 16-year-old decides to run through a red light and take me out. And it's just, that's the thing about death and dismemberment. I've been around it quite a bit in life, especially as I do it for profession even now, is that you wake up one day and you're shaving, and the next thing you go through this. But
Were you on a motorcycle, Thomas? Or?
I was riding a motorcycle. I had a Ninja 600 I bought up in Boston.
Okay.
Rode it year round because I was in college full time. I was in the Marine Corps still, but I was in reserve status because I was in college. Still had about maybe not quite a year and a half left. And then this night, January 19th, 89, bam, just happened. I remember joking at the scene because I was not unconscious. I was broke to pieces. Like a lot of my trauma survivor friends, arms, teeth, tongues, my blacked all my toenails, didn't even feel them. That's how much pain I'm in. I mean, one black nail in my life. I remember looking down at the scene going, it's strange that doesn't hurt. So I did that. I spent about 2.5 months at a UAB hospital here in Birmingham, Alabama.
Wow.
We were joking at the scene going, it was in January. I'm going, man, I'll be up and going by February. I wasn't even halfway through the hospital. That's how little clue I had about what it's like when you go through an amputation or a traumatic event like this.
Right.
12 months rocked by. I'm a model patient. They had opened up this new thing over at Spain Rehab. And they made me go through 2 weeks of it. I had to show them I could get in a car and walk and stuff. And then they released me. And I was thinking, there you go. I'm about to kick butt. No, then I got the 7 months of the recovery process. Like, oh. But that was probably the worst part. I think if anybody's going to be talking about amputation, they there's a myriad of emotions that come with it. And the thing that was kind of shocking to me, and all my friends and family would hit me and hound me on this. I think you're in denial. I went from like just regular to losing a limb. And at the beginning, I was a BK, about to have a total knee too. May have been the morphine kicked in and something. I just said, well, why don't we just do a good clean, which what they did, thank God.
Right.
But I lost train of thought there. You know why? Because I don't really think about my own story very much.
Right. Well, tell me about your challenges that you faced or challenges you conquered.
The challenges I had were, to be honest, I was scared as crap. I came home with a big wound on my thing. It had to close an inside out kind of Dakin solutions every day, changing dressings, and everybody that knew me knew that I was just not going to be able to do that because I would pass out of blood. But I remember my friends, that's where I was headed with that, are coming at me, knowing that I'm just highly depressed, and they were really. And the truth is from that moment it happened, I just somehow was like, click. I always just say, I felt like the Lord just spoke, just made it okay with me. But from that moment, I just went from that to full acceptance. And I kicked into this mode of like, well, what can I do now? And it just, it was just, I was running. In fact, it's how I recovered. I recovered up there in Tennessee River, water skiing on a boat that I had just finished building back together,
Right.
Hand painted it, a ski boat. And I literally started on my belly and didn't mean to do it. My friends were trying to get me out of the house, which I was glad to do, to drive me around. But I watched them ride around. I said, I could lay on that surfboard. And then about 2 days later, I think I could sit up on that surfboard. And then about a week and a half later, I'm like, wait a minute, I bet I could slalom ski. Then I moved to Arizona and it only intensified because I'm like, it's 90 degrees most of the year around. Let's do something. So when I got, I tell you what was interesting. When I got home from the hospital, this is, going into this, my second segue, kind of, if you will. It just flashed me forward to it. When I had gotten home from the hospital, about a month into that recovery, 2 months into it, I did realize that my perspective had started changing. What was important to me prior to this, I was like, what? Now suddenly I'd never even considered. I was like, I'm really into that. Listen, and I started listening to a lot of Tracy Chapman, the Indigo Girls with Closer to Fine or something.
Right.
And I go back to college to finish it up on this talk about getting prosthetics. I got my first leg, and it was the beginner leg, they call it. But I remember my perspective started changing, and I was at that point scheduled to go to Arizona to go into business or to do something in a business world in international, because my ex at the time was that. And I had no desire. I wanted to work with people. I went back into counseling. I went right back over to the new place was Desert Vista Hospital, adolescent psychiatric acute care. I walked right in, and you talk about the adaptations and whatever. This is a constant conversation, like in USA on able amputees. Is like, well, what do you tell the employers? What do you tell them about? I walked in there just like I was a regular person because I knew what I could do and what I couldn't do. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And I literally walked in and applied for the job, and don't think they realized I was actually an amputee. They knew I was gimpy slightly, because you got to understand, Doug, I had only been walking on a prosthetic, and it wasn't a C leg. It was that 4-bar. It was a Malk unit, and it was an Indolite with this new braking state Indolite leg. It came. You're OG like I am, but I finally got that, and I go up there with this new leg, and I'm just like all over the place. They said, "Well, any restrictions you have?" I'm like, "No, I'm pretty good." And it turned out I was. We did take. You work in an adolescent psychiatric acute care, you're going to be doing takedowns on these little ladders. So anyway,
how are things going in your life now? I kind of know some things that's going on, but why don't you share?
Well, it's been a good run. I managed to meet all the things, met a woman, got married, had kids, had a house. I've been a business owner 26, and then I went to work for Hanger for about 5, which really opened my eyes to, well, the way that business is done in this particular world, but also it really tapped me back into the very beginning of the conversation. Because at that moment, I knew at that point, I know this sounds stupid to so many people, but I knew that when this happened to me, for some reason, it was going to put me in a position in life to be able to help others, work with others, make sure that they got all these little things. Remember back in the day when the biggest hack was taking a bag and putting it over your foot? Now it's like, put a bag over your foot. Everybody knows that now, right?
Right.
You didn't always know that. So what I'm doing now is I opened up Amp Life Solutions. It's where, it's funny too. I've got an entire corporation built. It's all nice. But in the end, we're just basically personal amputee consultants and skills training. I'm talking, if you want to run in the Olympics, well, we'll take you that direction. If you want to learn how to just hold your baby and be comfortable and how to pick out legs, we do all that. Good. And it's funny because I've been, when I was running with you guys, meeting Kevin Carroll and then running the world, that was one thing, but I'm back in a position to where I'm one-on-one again, working with one-on-one clinics and one-on-one individuals.
If people needed your services, how would they go about finding you?
Well, I was going to conquer the world to begin with and be in 15 states pretty quick. I'm just kidding. Basically, you can go to my site and find me. If you message me, I'm always available. My cell phone's always available. I find that I mainly pick up amputees through my referrals. So if you're at an O&P clinic, you basically go into your clinic and just say, "Hey, you got anybody that can help me?" And they'll go, "There's this one guy that's so stinking persistent. What's he do again?" Yeah, he can show you how to. He can show you how to. How about this one? I actually had from Frank, my friend, I'm trying to remember who it was, on shoes, in an instant messenger conversation. And then just days later, I end up having a conversation in person and showing a lady how to actually put her shoes on with the different heel adjustments. It's those little simple things. I find at 55, about to be 56, and all these years into it, I'm liking that. Just getting down, back into working with people again. So
So that's a good segue. Let's close out this interview with you leaving us a golden nugget, a good piece of advice for the new amputees coming along.
Okay. Okay, yeah, the probably the easiest thing you could have asked me. It is the one question that everybody asks. It's always in running in all of our social media groups, and it's this from the bottom of my heart. The one piece of advice is to embrace your amp life. We've got it down to that. Just it's like it was unfortunate the drunk driver took you out, cancer got whatever got you, your diabetes. You're there, you embrace it, and then all of a sudden you see this new perspective. So I think your attitude is everything. If you have, we hear this now, it's almost flippant to say your attitude. I can't put an exclamation enough amount of points on. Your attitude will always get you, as they say in the biz, a top rated outcome.
Right.
Whatever level you are, your level can be matched if your attitude matches it. Anyway, that's what I got.
Very good.
I thank you for having me on this. It's always good to catch up with you, Doug.
It is. It is. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Good time there. And thank you for joining here, for sharing your story on Abled Amputees. You can find it here and also on our YouTube channel. And until next Sunday morning, I suppose. Thank you very much.
Feel free to cross-share that puppy if you want.
Yeah, definitely. All over the place, right?
All over the place.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, listen, I'll talk to you in a while, and thanks for having me again. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. And remember, life is not over. It's just different.